Hi, every U2 customer. When you install U2 ODBC client, you might see this tool on your system called SSL Configuration Editor tool, but you just don't know what this tool for, why they need to install it on your machine. So when you need to using U2 ODBC client using SSL connection connect to your server, you will need this tool. But SSL, it might be very difficult to set it up. So we do have another tool to set up the sales sign certificates automatic on your system, connect to your server. So it comes with the UCC client 521. They have a tool called SSL setup tool. So the tool look like this way. So you will see the tool look like this one, and I already have another YouTube video to explain how to use it. For this one, we set up the server side SSL, also set up for UO, UOJ, JDBC. Also set up the server side, the UV server or UD server on U2 server machine. When you're using this tool to generate everything set up correctly on the server side, then you can use in U2 ODBC client using the SSL connection. So after you run this tool, you will download the SSL certificate, sales sign certificate in the temp folder. For example, this certificate is generated by another tool. Then we can use this tool for U2 ODBC SSL connection. So next step, we'll be using another tool called SSL Configuration Tool to edit. So this one I already created. Then I can create another one again. So basically, you just create a new. So I can use another test SSL. We call SSL property list called SPL. So I can call test SSL SPL, and password just using my password. So you can choose a different protocol settings. So right now I want to use in TSV 1.2 using the certificate store using U2. So basically you can next. Then you can choose the CS certificate or sales sign certificate. So I know this certificate already in the temp folder. I choose this one. So it's okay. So you can set up the client side on the other settings. So right now I'm just using generous option and just click the finish. So you will see a new test SSL underscore SPL already created. So this new create the SPL you can use in UCI Editor to define it. So basically this program is create the registry key on your system. So you can try to find where we created. So for this tool, actually it's here. So a previous already create DNTS71B, and I just create a new one. I can refresh to see view, refresh to see another SPL setting inside the registry key. So you look at this, the registry key basically is all 32-bit. You will see HKey local machine software WAP 6432. Actually, it's 32 registry, but it can use 32-bit and 64-bit both. So we always store the SPL here. So it doesn't matter using the 32-bit ODBC or 64-bit ODBC client. So inside here, we're using another tool called UCI Configuration Editor tool to create UCI data source. So this one, basically, you just create the UCI data source. Then the main thing is a 3 parameter called secure mode or SSL property. So that's the 3 additional property need to set it. So I can demo another one. So for example, I can create a new data source. So I can set test UV, SPL, whatever. So I just using host name connect to DNTS71B. So I can create it. So it is just created by default this, but this option, it didn't have SPL settings. So if you use this, it basically is no SSL connection. So inside here, you can add 3 parameters. One parameter called SSL secure mode. So I can set true. So you can set it. That's first parameter. And you add another one called SPL property list. And this value, we know it's defined previous called test UV SPL. So this one must be match your previous setting. We can check the previous setting is correct. So we know called test SSL SPL. So need to set test SSL SPL. So you can set it. Another, it's the password setting. So you need to add 3 parameters for UCI data source. So this one, using the same my password. So it's okay. So after you set it, you need to save data source and save the configuration file. So after you set up SPL successful, then you can go back to look at the UCI config file. So after you add it, you can see the new parameter will be set as 3 more called secure mode 2 and SSL property list, and this another is SPL password. So you got the 3 additional parameter setting in the UCI.config file. So you after you set it, you can using the another Microsoft Administrator tool to set up additional any kind of data source DSN. So for here, I already set up this one called DNTS71B underscore UV. So this one, if I want to use in SSL, so you can choose this one or using this one. So it just create the SPL testing. So I use the original setup correctly. So you can see set it up. The new user DSN or system DSN using the new create the UCI data source with SPL setting. So after you set this, then you can find any kind of ODBC client to test it. So basically, I have a program to test the ODBC connection. Before the ODBC connection, you want to turn on the universe UCI trace lock. So for example, I cd to universe home directory, then just create the trace UCI file. So I basically on list AX machine I using called touch command called trace UCI. So after I create the trace UCI file. So next step, I using the ODBC application to make a server connection. So after I make any connection, then go back to look at the server side log. For this machine, the trace UCI log will create the temp folder. So I look at the UCI to search all the I'll create a file. So you will see the log file. I create another one. I just make a new connection. So I can look at again. So ls uvu star. So I make another one. You always create the UCI log, also another SSL log. So we can take a look the SSL log, the contents. So SSL log, you see like this. You look at this log file, then you can look at is looking for any errors. Normally, if you're not getting error, you will see the successful using the protocol TS 1.2. Even server side already support TS 1.3. But right now, clients are only support up to 1.2. So you were just using 1.2. So after you make a connection, and you will see SSL binding is okay. So it will show you that all the SSL connection is successful. If you have any problem, you should see some error inside this ODBC SSL log.